Goeiedag and welcome. My name is Amarenske and today I will be doing for you the drunk book tag. One of the creators of this is Julie from the channel Pages and Pens. And I thought it would be a lot of fun to do this tag, so here we go. The first question is wine coolers. You're 16 and you finally managed to sneak one of your mom's Smirnoff Ices. What's one of your most guilty pleasure reads? And I chose for this Uprooted by Naomi Novik because this book has a lot of flaws, but I also just like the story a lot. I just read this purely for enjoyment because if you start analyzing this book, it has so many flaws and it is not that great, but if you read it purely for enjoyment, at least in my case, I really enjoyed this book and it was what I needed to get out of a reading slump I had had for like 2 weeks during Tome Topple. So here we go. My most guilty pleasure read and my most guilty pleasure drink ever probably hasn't been tequila like it was for some people, and which was question 3, but beer because I don't really like it at all. But question 2 is about beer, or cold beer. You've made it to college and you're hosting your first kegger. Pick your favorite new adult or college age book. Well, I will stretch this because I haven't gotten a lot of college age books and for once I did not want to choose to pick the Sturmkönige trilogy because I picked that so many times already, just like the book I did pick anyway. But actually the book I did pick is about a PhD research, and that's Darwin's Hofvijver by Thijs Goldschmidt, or Darwin's Dream Pond in English, which is about his PhD in Africa on Lake Victoria about voodoo fish, which he wrote this book about. It's actually an interesting dive into the biology of evolution, and you get to see how fast it can go. And the subtitle is Een Drama in Lake Victoria, or I think the English one is A Drama in Lake Victoria, because this also speaks about a rapid and massive decline in the amount of voodoo species in the lake, even though in the beginning of the book you see it increasing a lot. It's just very interesting because it speaks about evolutionary biology and it includes a whole reference list, which is logical because it is a scientific research book, but also a list of the terms used and what they mean, and just generally an interesting book to read because it also has like a fictitious aspect in it about the people living around Lake Victoria. That part in this book is not actually real, it's based on the culture and society around the lake, but it's not actually real. And now we go on to a drink I never actually drank, which is tequila. And I don't think I actually want to drink it, and I don't want to read the book I chose for this one ever again. And as soon as I do an unhaul, this book is leaving. The question is, you partied too hard last night and drank a little too much Jose Cuervo. What's a book that you never want to see again? Or just my least favorite book? Well, it's as soon as it is gone, I think I won't miss it. It's just that the cover is so darn beautiful, and I'm talking about Carval by Stephanie Garber. And I'm going to take it out of the screen because I hate the book. And I'm going on to, if you want to know why, by the way, you can find an extensive review on my channel as well as on my Goodreads. So you can read that or watch that, whatever you want. And I go on to question 4, which is Beer Bong. What's a book that you have read super fast? Relatively, it's not 1 but 3 books of the same trilogy, which is The Witches of East End trilogy by Melissa de la Cruz, consisting of The Witches of East End, The Serpent's Kiss, and Winds of Salem. It is a trilogy, and I read it, I think, within 2 weeks, because I really enjoyed it and I wanted to know how it ended, because there is some overarching plot point about who destroyed the Boho, which is the bridge between Asgard and Midgard, or our world and the gods' planes. And someone destroyed it, but you think the entirety of the books you know who did it or who of the characters might have done it. And in the end you found out who did it, which was really nice. Plus this also has some sexy time in it. Sexy time I actually enjoyed reading because I'm not that much into it, but in this book it fits because it is Freya who does it, and Freya is the goddess of fertility and sexual attraction. And the only like magical things that happen in here is Freya and her sister helping people with love and romance, as well as starting a family, and also something about calling the spirits from the long past. It was just very interesting and a good solid basis on Norwegian mythology, of course. The writer has given it her own twist. Melissa de la Cruz has given it her own twist, but what else would you expect? That makes the book so nice. And we're going on to spring break. You've thrown your inhibitions to the wind and end up having a sexy night you'll never forget. What's your favorite smutty read? I have to say that even though I have nothing against smutty reads, and the books that would most closely be smutty reads are those, I haven't really read smutty reads that much, because I don't tend to gravitate towards them. So I'll just go on to the next question. Screwdriver. What's the most twisted HEH? I don't really know what it stands for. Book you have ever read. I don't know if it is the most twisted book I have ever read, but it's definitely in some ways very twisted, and I chose The Last One by Alexandra Oliva because I just finished it. And the things that happen in the main character's head seem very, very, very twisted. So, a really, really enjoyable book that makes you think a lot. And we'll be going on to the Long Island iced tea, the melting pot of alcoholic beverages. What is your most favorite diverse read? I chose to have 2 of them, which do not include a lot of different diversity each, but they are quite diverse books. And in one way or another we have, I believe, some neurodiversity in both of those books. De Engelmaker by Stefan Breijs and Buitenstaanders by Renate Dorrestein. This one has some crazy ass characters in it, like literally psychiatrically crazy, which is why they live in a house in the middle of nowhere. People who think they can fly and are on the point of jumping from a roof to prove it, that kind of crazy. And in this we have an autistic doctor, like a general physician with autism, who is very good in treating his patients, but also has some crazy ideas like Jesus was good and God is evil, and his children must be educated on religion, but they may not be educated on God, only on Jesus, that kind of strange things. And he actually does some morally very grey and dark things. You will have to read the book for, because if I tell you, that would probably be a spoiler for the end of the book. And to prevent spoilers, I'll go on to The Sex on the Beach. A drink that's great in theory, but wasn't exactly all it was cracked up to be. What is a book that just did not live up to the hype? I have to say here, I'll generalize it at first. This goes for almost every hyped up book on BookTube, especially the YA books, but you'd guess it from my least favorite book, Cuervo. I had to show it again, and it's going again now. And in that way, I'll go to question 9, of which my answer is I have none, but the question is wine. You've just gone through a breakup, so you park yourself in bed with your favorite bottle of wine, some ice cream, and a bucket for your tears. Name a book that made you cry out all your feels. The point is, I don't really cry about books. I sometimes cry about romantic comedy movies, but not really about books. I laugh about books. I feel sad through books. I get angry and frustrated, but I hardly ever cry. And I don't really read romance novels because I'm not that much into it, so I have no book for this. And I have been eternally single ever since I was 0, so I don't really have had a breakup either. So I can really live in those feels. And we go to the strip club of number 10. What's the sexiest naked book? Actually, I have a hardcover of this book and I can pick it up. It's Een Schitterend Gebrek. This is the paperback cover I have, which is a special print. I think it has quite some sexiness to it with the mask and stuff. But the naked hardback looks like this. And I think I like both of them a lot. So, it's your choice. Which one do you like best? I bought this one because it is a special edition and I like the cover so much. And the masks really fit the story too. So that's also why the girl on this cover wears a mask. I would definitely recommend reading In Lucia's Eyes by Arthur Japan because it is a great historical fiction novel, I mean. But as this was the final question and this tag ends with a bunch of never have I ever's to try and find the amount of people you have to tag. I have to tag 5 because I had done none of those. But you have to tag at least 3 people. My first never have I ever is never have I ever rated a book 1 star. And number 2 is enjoyed drinking a beer. I really don't like beer. 3, rated YA above 4 stars, or actually above 3.5 stars. 4, read a complete hardback with the dust jacket. I have read hardbacks with dust jackets, but sooner or later I'll usually take up the hard jacket because they get quite annoying to me. And number 5 is gone to a fantasy fair without the special clothing on. So, in other words, when I go to fantasy fairs or like Renaissance fairs, I always tend to dress up. Not always in full costume, but I dress up. I'm curious what you did. The people I tag I'll leave down below in the comments, as well as the questions and the link to Julie's video. This is it for now. Thank you for watching and on to the keer!